Hello everyone, I am Charul Bhoria, clinical psychologist. I welcome you all to the course of Mental Health and Well-being. Today I'll be covering module 11, Stress Management Strategy. In this module, today we'll be focusing on lecture 4, which is related to relaxation technique for managing stress. What exactly is stress? Stress is the body's response to any demand or challenge that an individual come across. It's not always bad. A certain level of stress called eustress helps us focus and motivate us to perform better in our tasks. But when it comes to intense or chronic form of stress, it is known as distress or the negative stress, which affects both our physical well-being as well as mental well-being. It is important to distinguish between the short-term as well as long-term stress. So, what can be the example of short term stress? Short term stress is any stress related to before exam. For example, before an exam, you're feeling restless, you're feeling that you won't be able to do enough, you don't know much. So, because of which you are feeling anxious. So, which is for a short duration. Before the exam, it is there. Once you are done with your exams or you're giving your exam, it goes away. And in terms of the long term stress, like any ongoing academic pressure that is consistently present in your life, or any form of family pressure that is there, where you are not able to meet the demands, where the expectations are consistently there, which is making you feel low over time. So, what can be the possible causes of stress? So, stress often stems from multiple sources, especially for students and professionals. Tight deadlines, social isolation, fear of failure, or even just lack of proper sleep can build up and affect your ability to cope with stress. Recognizing what triggers your stress, what are the impacts it is having, is the key step in managing it effectively. Stress doesn't just affect the mind, it shows up in our body. A person might feel more tired, there will be more muscle tension, there will be more difficulty engaging with the day to day functioning. It shows up in your emotions. Whenever you're stressed out, there's a possibility that you'll snap easily. A person will be more irritable when they are talking to people or might not feel like talking to people at all. At the same time, in terms of the behavior, whatever goals you have or your behavior towards your acads, how much importance or priority it is having, that might reduce over time when you're not able to cope with the demand. You might feel unusually tired, you might feel anxious, or might also have difficulty concentrating on a regular day to day basis. So, it is important to recognize these signs. Once you know what the signs are, you'll be able to take an action to manage it. So, how stress responds to our body? So, whenever you are stressed, whenever any person is stressed, your brain activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This leads to release of stress hormone, cortisol and adrenaline. These prepare your body to react quickly, which in turns also activates the fight or flight response in our body. It increases the heart rate, it increases the blood pressure, at the same time alertness. While this response is important and very helpful in emergency, if you come across any sort of danger in your life, if it is happening too often or if it continues for too long, it in turn can weaken the immunity, it disturbs the sleep, at the same time, it impacts the cognition, leading to difficulty in remembering things, which in turn impacts the memory of a person. So, there's an autonomic nervous system in our body which controls specific body processes like the pupils, the heart, the airways, the sweat glands, the blood circulation, the digestion in our body, the breathing that is there. So, the autonomic nervous system is named so because it automatically works, that is, without a person's conscious effort. So, it is divided in two categories, the sympathetic nervous system as well as parasympathetic nervous system. Now, when the sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for fight or flight response. So, in this, our pupils are dilated, the heartbeat increases in a person, there is increase in glycogen level in our body. And when it comes to parasympathetic nervous system of a person, it calms the body down after the danger. On the other hand, the sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous system, they are differentiated on the basis of how our body responds to the environmental stimuli. So, let's take an example of panic attack. Whenever a person experiences the panic attack, the sympathetic nervous system in a body is activated at that time, which leads to the stimulation of adrenaline as well as other stress responses. This in turn leads to different sort of physical responses in the body, like increased heartbeat. There is rapid breathing in a person. There is hot and cold flushes the person experiences. At the same time, the pupil of a person will get dilated. They'll have difficulty concentrating and relaxing themselves. So, in order to counterbalance it, the parasympathetic nervous system gets activated at that time, which brings the body to the state of feeling calm. However, whenever a person is experiencing the panic attack, the parasympathetic nervous system, it might be slow to adapt to the demand, or it might be slow to activate, or it might take a lot of time to get activated, which in turn impacts the person as well as it continues with the panic attack. This imbalance between the sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous system in a body leads to prolonged experience of fear, uneasiness, difficulty in relaxing in a person, and hyperventilation. So, how the relaxation techniques can help a person? Relaxation techniques like deep breathing, JPMR, that is Jacobson Progressive Muscle Relaxation, and guided imagery activates the parasympathetic nervous system in a person. This in turn leads to the resting state in a person, and the person is able to calm themselves down. This reduces the cortisol level, which is the stress hormonal individual, as well as adrenaline production in a person. In this state, the heartbeat of a person lowers down. It allows the body to return to the balanced state where there is more stability in a person. Regular practice done by an individual can actually retrain the stress response system in a person to become less reactive over time. So, what happens to the brain chemistry when a person is regularly engaging in relaxation? So, relaxation just doesn't make you feel better. It also changes the brain chemistry of an individual. There are different type of neurotransmitters in our body, like serotonin or GABA. So, whenever a person engages in relaxation, it increases the serotonin and GABA neurotransmitters, which in turns help in regulating the mood. It helps in calming down the person. It helps with better sleep and better memory in an individual. At the same time, it reduces the amount of anxiety a person experiences. It also enhances activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the area responsible for increasing the attention as well as regulating the emotion and decision making in a person. It lowers down the cortisol level. Cortisol, which is a stress hormone in a person, if it is left high, it can reduce or minimize the immunity of a person, as well as it impairs the memory if it is not kept in check. Now, why use relaxation? Why is it really important for us to calm ourselves down on our own and not just focus on the external factors to help you? So, relaxation techniques are evidence-based methods to calm the body and mind. They reduce the tension in a person. It increases the focus and regulates the emotion of an individual. Whenever a person is overwhelmed with the demands in the environment or overwhelmed with the workload that they have, whenever they are able to reach and do the relaxation, even if it's for 5 minutes, they're able to just be more calm and be more goal oriented in their life. So, today we'll be discussing some of the relaxation techniques that you can engage in on a regular basis, like progressive muscle relaxation and guided in imagery, which in turn can help you reduce the amount of stress that you experience, at the same time improve the mental clarity. So first is progressive muscle relaxation. So PMR is a physical technique which involves tensing the muscles in your body and then slowly relaxing the muscles in response, leading to you feeling relaxed and calm. So it can start from feet to head, or it can go from head to toe. This helps you notice where you carry your tension, wherever there is tension, wherever there is tightness in the muscles in your body. It makes you be more aware about the bodily sensations that you are experiencing, and consciously it helps you release it once you exhale. It is great for reducing the anxiety, insomnia, or any stress related to the exams that you experience. It can also help you better your sleep in the long run, where the thoughts become secondary and you're able to relax yourself on your own. So, how to practice PMR if you focus on it? So, one, it can take up to 15 to 20 minutes on a regular basis if you do it. At the same time, it is really important to find a place that is quiet, where you are able to sit down or lie down without any distractions, where the light is comparatively dim if it's possible for you, so that you are in a state where you can actually concentrate on your body and follow all the steps. The key is to focus on the difference between the relaxation as well as tension in your body. This not only helps physically, but also anchors your mind in the present moment. Try not to rush through. Let each release be deliberate. So, find a quiet place just for a small demo for few seconds. Sit or lie down. Start from your toes. Just focus on your toes. Focus on normal breathing. Try to relax yourself down. Now, coming to the focus on your toes, tense your toes for 5 seconds. Notice the sensation that is there. Try not to change it. Just experience the tightness that is there. Then slowly release it for 10 seconds and let the tension out from your toes. Make your body feel a little bit calm. So, in this way, from toes to head, you can move all the muscles group in your body. From feet, then you move on to the legs, then move on to the abdomen, then you focus on the hand and the fist, then you focus on the shoulders, make the shoulders tight and then slowly loosen it up, and then moving on to the face. So breathe slowly and stay aware about your sensations. So what is guided imagery? Guided imagery is a mental relaxation. In this, you visualize, you vividly imagine the calming environment. It can be a beach, it can be a forest where you can notice the sun ray coming from between the trees. In this, whenever you are doing this, your brain and body begin to respond as if they are real. For example, in guided imagery, just focus on the environment, just close your eyes and focus that you're seeing the waves in the ocean and its movement, what the color is of the water, what is the sounds that you're hearing around you, where you're focusing on normal breathing and just trying to explore the areas. How you are able to notice the sun rays on the ocean that is shining. How does it make you feel? What are you able to hear? What does it look like? So, imagining that, visualizing that, and trying to experience yourself in that setting can help you relax yourself. It can help you reduce the stress on a regular basis, as well as help you in managing your emotions. So, what are the possible signs of stress you can take care of or you can focus on? So, before applying any sort of relaxation technique or any technique to calm yourself down, it is really important to recognize when the stress is building up. Because in majority of cases, when the severity increases and when the stress ends up becoming a burnout, then people pay more attention to it rather than just in the starting and recognizing it early so that you're able to cope on a timely manner with minimum effort and maximum response. So, becoming aware of these symptoms like tightness of muscles, rapid heartbeat, or shallow breathing, difficulty in concentrating, where you're overthinking, or having thoughts like that whatever you're doing is not enough or you won't be able to do anything at all, feeling that you are always going to be a failure, getting more irritated over time can be few of the symptoms or signs that you can notice before focusing on how to relax yourself. So let's take an example about the semester. So on in the start of the semester, for example, if you have taken 4 different courses, at the same time you have joined the robotics club. Now, even though a person is motivated in the starting, but whatever stress is there, because there are going to be demands on a daily basis, there will be short term goals that you'll have to accomplish on a regular basis to cater to it. It might lead to pressure, but you're able to maintain it on a daily basis because you're able to organize and balance your routine. So, for example, you come to the mid semester. Now, during mid semester, there are assignments that you have to do. The lab work is piling up. You're not able to complete it on time. You're not able to manage it. The group projects that you were engaged in, you were part of, the results are getting delayed, or you're not able to achieve or give the same amount of input you would want. So, in order to deal with this, because you're not able to, you start skipping meals, you start ignoring people also. You might be sleeping less at the same time. So, these are the signs that the severity somewhat has started increasing, that it's not on a manageable level right now. You're not able to do things on your own. So, recognizing that. Now, coming on to the pre-exams. After you're done with your mid-semester, you come on to the pre-exams. Now, all the deadlines are overlapping. The project work, all the assignments, all the lab work, all the deadlines are overlapping and you're not able to cater to the demand. You start feeling overwhelmed, you start feeling anxious. You start noticing that the other people around you are able to perform, but you're not able to. So you start avoiding the social setting where there is no discussion about exams or the performance, what is happening. You stop engaging in any form of leisure activities. So the severity has increased again. The signs have changed. They have altered. The intensity is more. Now, after this, when it has been going on for a long time, it has been prolonged, and it is not being dealt in a healthy manner. Now, a person will have difficulty continuing the academic tasks on a regular basis. It can also, in turn, if the severity increases, it can also lead to panic attack or severe anxiety attack in a person, where they might have to undergo. So, this is one example where you can recognize, like in the starting itself, that even if 1 or 2 symptoms are there, you're not ignoring the signs, you're trying to manage it there and then before the severity of the symptoms increases, that it's not manageable any longer. Let's focus on quick relaxation techniques. Many relaxation techniques, if you focus on guided imagery, PMR that we discussed earlier, you might need at least 15 to 20 minutes to half an hour in order to get the result or be able to do it. So, in a quick relaxation technique, there is one technique that you can do. Like, for example, if you're in the middle of the exams, right, or you're sitting in a public setting, you have 2-3 minutes only in hand. So, in those kind of settings, you can actually try it. One is box breathing. So, in this, you inhale for 4 seconds, you count for 4 seconds while inhaling, then you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds. So, it's like a square that is there. You inhale 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, exhale, and then hold. So, this can be done for 2-3 minutes on a regular basis, and it will help you make yourself more clear. It will give you more mental clarity. Now, there is mini PMR you can do. So, in this, you don't need to find a particular location where the distractions are less, where you can sit comfortably or lie down comfortably. While you are sitting for your exam at that time, or while you are in your class or in any situation, you can just simply focus on the fist, on your toes, or just the shoulders, where you can tense them for few seconds and then release it after few seconds, slowly, and just try to relax yourself down. The third that you can focus on is the deep breathing. So, deep breathing is something that can be done for 15 minutes, it can be done for 5 minutes. So, in this scenario, let's try to practice and let's see what exactly the steps are, how you can go about it. So, sit in a comfortable position where the distractions are minimized, where your feet are flat on the floor and your back is straight, where you're more comfortable, right? Try to note the level of tension that you're feeling in your body. Then place one hand on your stomach, on your abdomen. Now slowly inhale deeply through your nose. Send the air as low down as you can. If you're breathing from your abdomen, your hand should automatically rise. Your chest should not be rising. Your abdomen and your hand should be rising while your stomach expands. When you have taken a full breath, pause for a few seconds and then slowly exhale through your nose and let it all out. And just make your body feel more relaxed. So, as you exhale, feel your abdomen contract. As you exhale, allow your whole body to just let go and be at ease. So, this is the relaxation you can do on a regular basis for few seconds, where the whole concentration is on the breathing, how your abdomen is moving up as you inhale and how it is contracting as you exhale. So, if you keep on doing on a regular basis, it will help you feel more calm. You won't have to rely on external sources to calm yourself down. You can rely on yourself, because in many settings, whenever a person is feeling anxious, whenever they are not feeling well, though many times people prefer they'll watch something, right? It can be a short term, but it cannot be something that can be utilized in a long term basis, because not every single time that source will be available. If your go to way is to talk to someone, now what if the person that you want to talk to is not picking up the call, if that's the case? So, not relying on external factors only, having a balance where you're able to rely on yourself, calm yourself down as well as focusing on the social support is the way to go in the long run. Now, pre-exam relaxation. So, it is really important. So, whenever the person is having exams, right, it's not possible to engage in extensive activity all the time. So, once you arrive for the exam, it is always important that you arrive early, sit comfortably in the hall, get used to the environment, make yourself feel comfortable. After that, you can simply focus on the breathing. You can use guided imagery if you are used to it. You can just visualize yourself being able to perform well, so that the thoughts that are making you doubt whether you'll be able to perform well or not, you can get rid of those thoughts and just feel the calmness that comes along with it. At the same time, it is always better to avoid the last moment frantic studying or revision that people usually do, because it becomes a lot of information in one go where you're not able to structure it in the manner that it needs to be done. So, what exactly is the conclusion of all the relaxation, how it impacts our body? So, first and foremost, relaxation techniques are most effective if it is practiced on a regular basis. Majority of times the problem comes in when the emotions are heightened, then only people might try to apply it or engage in it, not when on a regular normal day-to-day basis. So at that time, once you start doing it just when the intensity of emotion is high, you'll have difficulty focusing on it because you haven't practiced enough as required. So if you do it on a daily basis, you get into a habit of it, you're able to accordingly make your thoughts secondary and you are able to focus on relaxing yourself. At the same time, just like whenever you're engaging in physical activity, it builds your muscles, right? So, mental training also builds the emotional resilience of a person. You are more capable of dealing with the conflicts when you have more mental clarity. So, over time, it is really important for you to engage in it on a regular basis, even if it's for 4 or 5 minutes on a daily basis, not 15 to 20 minutes, and make it a part of your routine, make it a priority for your long term well being, not just on a short term basis, trying to find reasons to calm you down. So, these are the few references that you can go through, that you can look up, where you can find the material that have been taken. Thank you.